Hello, and welcome to my channel, Nancy Be Inspired. I am so happy that you are here with me today. I am Nancy DeLeonardi, and I am your host on this channel, where I inspire you to live your best life through health, wellness, fitness, and actually boss lady tips. So today I want to talk about some boss lady tips. If you're out there looking for a job and you need some tips, I have mentored many people and I have helped them achieve the next level of their career. And I thought that I wanted to share some tips with you today. So if you're ready for this, stay tuned and join us on the next episode of Nancy Be Inspired. Welcome to my episode, my first Boss Lady Tips episode. So I'm excited about this one because I am a boss and I have a team of people, and I have helped many people pursue the next level of their career. And I thought, I want to give free information here on my channel to help you, right? So these tips that I have are things that I've done in my life. I've seen them work for other people and for myself, actually. And I thought, I just want to put content out there to help you live your best life. So I'm all over the place because this is my life, right? I'm into health, I'm into fitness, I'm into Zumba, I'm into inspiring people, and I am a boss. So I've mentored many people, like I mentioned, and I thought, how can I help you stand out amongst the rest when you're out there looking for a job? We're in a digital world now, and how can you stand out? And so there's always controversy with the old school tactics and what worked then and what we should be doing today. And I will say that it is kind of a combination of both. I have mentored folks right out of college who will apply for a job and then just sit back and let it go and see what happens, right? They just apply, and they just, they're just a number in the big game. And so because I'm on the hiring side of the process now, I can tell you what I see and I've seen that will help you, because when an employer posts a job, you have to look at the qualifications of the job. What are they looking for in that job? And does your resume and your experience align with the qualifications of that job? So I will say that in today's world, with all the technology, a person might not be looking at your resume when it comes into their organization. There could be a bot, and a bot could be scanning your resume to see if there are keywords that align with the posting. So I would say that my recommendation number one is to make sure that your resume aligns with the position that you are applying for, so that you will be the best candidate for that position based on your resume and the qualifications. Now, that being said, you're going to have to do homework on your side, right? Don't go out there and just apply for every job using that same resume. It is not one resume for all positions for the reason I just mentioned. So you may have multiple resumes. So be mindful of that, be creative, and make sure that your resume stands out among the rest. Meaning, number one, you want to align. So speak to the processes that you and your experience that you have that align with the qualifications of that position. So it doesn't have to be exactly, but if they're looking for certain leadership skills, I would say, and maybe you haven't led a team per se, maybe you're looking for the next level of your career and you're looking for a management position and you've never, had a team before. But speak to your leadership skill style, right? So what have you led in your life that aligns with that? Have you led from where you are? Have you led projects. If you're new, recent college graduate, were you in groups in school where you led that class or you led that group, you led that project? You want to speak to that because that they're actually looking for the skill set there. So there are hard skill sets and soft skill sets. Have you built a community? What have you done? So my first recommendation is to really read through the position that's being posted. Do you see yourself in that position? Are you qualified for that position? Another key tip that I will give you is that, and this, sometimes is, based on male female, because historically, if you look up data, men will traditionally apply for any job, whether they're qualified or not. If they see one thing on that job that they're qualified for doing, they will apply for it. Females on the other side, and these are just statistics out there, so you can look it up, but females on the other side, we're kind of looking to check off every box of that position that we've done this, we've done that, and we're aligned, with it. But you want to consider to stretch yourself. You want to consider applying for a position that you don't know 100% of it, but you have the key essential skills for that position. Because every position, you need room to grow. Or otherwise, what's the sense? You're doing the same thing. You're just shifting from one company to the next and you're not growing. The journey of life is to grow. You want to expand your skill set. You want to expand your network. You want to expand your knowledge. And you want to expand your net worth, right? So always consider that even if you don't have all the qualifications of the position, you have essential qualifications for the position, and you want to speak to those qualifications, and then you want to speak to, should you get to that level, of your willingness to learn, to grow, because that's why you're interested in this position, is because you are interested in growing and you're excited about that opportunity with the position. So again, remember that you may have multiple resumes for different positions that you're applying for. Again, when you go to submit your resume, again, it's going into a database where I have seen hundreds on that list, and who is going to stand out, right? So, you can get creative with your resume. Some people have their picture on it. Some people, it looks a little bit different. You want to speak to, I saw one time that someone actually, I saw a resume where a person, her resume was actually designed like a toolbox. And she spoke to the tools in her toolbox as, her skill set. It was very creative. It did stand out. She did get an interview, and she did get pretty far in that interview process. So she did stand out. So be creative in your resume, not too, off the chart with it, but you want to stand out. Working for an organization that gets thousands of applications for a position, these are the things that we look for. We're looking for qualification, number one, that matters. Education is key, but really, can you do the job? I will say that you have to focus on the qualifications. I'm honing in here because the employer has those qualifications. When I go to list a position, right, I'm listing what I need that new candidate to bring to the team so that my learning curve for this individual is shorter, right? So just look at qualifications that hiring manager needs you to bring these skills and not have to teach you these skills. They want you to come in, and whether it's certain applications that they've listed, they want you to come in knowing that and not having to teach you it, right? So again, applications and specific skills, you have to have that if they're looking for that. And if you have 9 out of 10, you're still good. I would apply, right? But if you only have 1 or 2 of the 10, then that's really not going to work, because that hiring manager, you have to look at their position, is that they have work that someone left for whatever reason, or they have so much work they need to bring a new person on. So it's an additional new position for the department or the area. And so there's volume there, is what I'm trying to say. There's volume there, and they need to bring somebody on who really has to get acclimated with the institution, perhaps, or the new organization, the new company that they're coming into. There's a learning curve there. there, but as far as the fundamentals of the job, that they're able to come in and do that work and then just learn the process for that company. So again, be mindful there, be creative with your resume. You want to stand out when you submit your resume. If you do hear back from the organization, you want to respond timely. I recommend always having a cover letter. I see folks that they just submit resumes and they do not send a cover letter. A cover letter is really essential and key. Again, it may be considered an old school, but we look at that as sort of a highlight. You're telling me a little bit more about yourself than what I'm reading flat on your resume. You're telling me more, but I'm going to learn more from you. You want to leave me something that I want to learn more about you, and I want to call you in because I want to hear more about this thing that you told me about in your cover letter that aligns with the position that I'm hiring for. Okay, so you want to leave like a little breadcrumb, a little introduction, and you want to highlight your experience that directly aligns with one of the qualifications and talk about what you've done in your experience a little bit so that they can find out more about you on that interview. Always be prepared when the next step would be maybe a phone interview, right? So that's usually what happens. You submit your resume, hiring manager pulls resumes for people that they want to talk to. Again, you want to be prepared. You want to be prepared about the position because interviewing is not a one-sided affair. It is a two-sided affair. You want to make sure that this position and this organization and this company aligns with the work that you want to do. What do you want to do? What environment do you want to be in? What culture do you want to be in? So be prepared to understand where you're applying, understand that company, understand the position that's posted, so that you can speak to it. When you get a phone interview, again, it's a little highlight of what they're looking for. They'll speak to you about your qualifications a little bit more, and you have to sell yourself enough to get in front of more people. So you want to be prepared on this phone interview. You want to come with excitement, you want to come with conviction, and you need to come in with the attitude of you are the best person for that candidate, you are the best candidate for that position, you are the best person for them to call in, and why, right? You don't ever want to say, if they say, do you have any questions for us? I've had someone say in the past when I've asked, do you have any questions that I can answer for you? The answer that I got was, no, I found out everything I needed to know about your company on the internet. That you never want to do that. You always want to have a question because what you read on the internet is not always 100%, and you should come with an inquisitive mind. You want to come with curiosity because you want to be part of this company. You want to be part of the team, and what questions do you need answered so that you can be a good fit for that position? One that I will give you that I asked myself was, and I don't know that the phone interview would not be the right place for this question. So the phone interview would be, what are my expectations? What are the next steps in the process, right? When are you looking to fill the position, right? So you have like a timeline. Is there anything else I should be prepared for, for the next step of the process, and when do you think I'll hear back, according to, what the next steps? When do you think that I'll hear back if I'm called into the next round, right? So that you're prepared. Is there anything that you need to tell me about the next round that I should prepare myself for? Those kind of things. Are there any questions that I can answer additionally for you in this conversation that will allow me that opportunity to speak to more people because I really am interested in this position and going to the next level? So is there anything else you need to know about me and my experience that will help me get to the next stage of this process, right? So those are good questions for you to ask on the phone interview. If you get called into that next interview, be prepared. You want to have at least 3 good questions at the end. So you want to be engaged. A lot of times those are panel interviews, meaning you have more than one person, you have several people. They could be people from other teams that you're going to be working with. They could be people on the team that you are going to be working with. They could be other leaders within the organization that you work in. It could be a variety of people. And so when you are asked a question, it is okay to bring a pen and paper with you into an interview. I respect people that do that because they're taking copious notes, or they have a thought that they want to ask the question while you're speaking. They're engaged, but they're taking a note so that they can come back to this because it's something that they want to speak to. So know that when you are on an interview, everyone understands that you are nervous. They understand that, okay? So it's okay not to be perfect, and it is okay to say that you don't know something. Never make up something that you don't know. We can see through that, like, I don't know how to say this better, but we can see through when you're not speaking authentically to the role, because the people on this panel interview that are interviewing you for the position know this position, know the work, know the depth of the work, and know what's entailed in doing that work. So fudging answers, everyone's going to see it, and that is not going to be a good look for you. So if you don't know something that you're being asked, it's okay to say, I'm not familiar with that process, but I'd be happy to learn more about it. Can I ask you something about it? Is it like this process, or is it like that process? Because I'm familiar with these processes, but I'm not familiar with that one exactly. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? And then as you learn about that process, and if you have experience similar but not exact, you want to speak to that. So when you are asked a question in an interview, you want to answer the question. You don't want to circumvent the question. You don't want to give another answer. You want to answer the question that's posed to you. So whether you have to write it down, whether you ask them to repeat the question to you, sometimes in my world, we will ask you one question that's 3 parts. And so, you have to remember that, you're answering all these parts. So when you conclude that answer, it's okay to ask, did I answer the question fully? Is there anything else you need from me? Because again, they understand that you're nervous and you may have missed something. Okay. You want to speak to the process. You don't want to make up stories about a process. You either know it or you don't know it, and you need to be honest during the process. I will say that being prepared and asking questions, even if you don't have relevant experience in your current situation. So say, for example, you're a new college graduate and you really can't speak to this particular, task, if you will, for that role. But you do have that experience because maybe in your college years, you were part of an organization that you did do that. So you want to answer the question, but you want to answer the question in what relates to you and your life and your experience, right? So that's what you want to do. I might not have experience in, leading a project that is, specific to this type of role, but I do have experience. I can tell you about a time where I had experience when I was in college and I was given a project and we had a team of 5 people. I was in charge of that project. I scheduled the project. We had a timeline. I assigned different people to tasks. We met on a regular basis. I kept everybody accountable. You're answering the question as it relates to you and your life, and you're showing your competency in that particular, a skill set. So always remember to answer the question. I have had so many people in interviews not answer the question. They will derail and they'll go down another tangent because I feel they don't know how to answer the question. They don't want to say no. They don't know the answer. And I will tell you another beautiful thing that I really respect in people in an interview is when you ask them a question, and it could be that 3-part question. You're asking them a question, single question or multi-layered question, and they pause and they are thinking about the answer that they want to give to you. So they're not right out of their mouth and they're just talking, trying to, because again, it could be nerves with some people, but it is okay to take a step back and process the questions and let them know I'm processing the question. And I've done this myself where I'm like, okay, I'm trying to pick the best scenario to answer you with. So they know that in your mind, you're like, because for me, I can come up with 1,000 different examples of the question that you're asking me, but I want to give you the most relevant answer pertaining to this position with your company and how you will see me as the best person for this role if I choose the right experience to share with you. Okay? Really important. So it is okay to take notes. It is okay to pause, reflect, and give the correct answer, but I cannot stress this enough. You want to answer the question that is posed to you. Okay? And then afterwards, as you go around, you want to look at each person. If you have multiple people on your panel, you want to answer your question while you're looking at each person as you're speaking. Okay? That engagement shows them that you're confident, that you're engaged, and you see everybody in the room. Okay? I will also say that if you go into an interview and you are applying for a particular role that has a title, okay, most do, and when the panel goes around and they introduce themselves to you, typically they will introduce themselves to you and they will state their role. I will tell you that this happened to me more than once. I was in the role that we were hiring for. You want to take notice that person who has the role that you are applying for is your connection. That is your key focused person in the room. Yes, you have a hiring manager. Yes, you have other colleagues. This person is in the job that you want. This person is in the job that you are applying for. This person is your focus person. This person is the person who you need to ask questions to. They are there and they can tell you everything about that role. I can tell you I have been on panels where I was the person in the role and I was not asked one question. That person, those people that were interviewing were more concerned about buddying up with other people, right? And making that high level connection, social connection, but didn't get the fact that the connection, the skill set connection, the connection of, are you the right person for this role in this company, matters more than the networking that you're doing right now. Needless to say, didn't bode well for that person. Those people, it happened more than once, right? So I will say to you, be mindful of the people on the panel, be mindful of the role that they have, so that at the end, when you are asked, do you have any questions for us, right? You can zone in on that person and you can say, I remember that you said that you're in this role currently. Can you tell me about a day in a life in that role? What do you like about the role? What's your favorite thing about the role? And then to the panel, what is the learning curve here? What is the learning curve for this position? What does success look like in this position? Is there anything else I can answer for you so that you can get to know me better, so I can answer all the questions that you have, so that you're satisfied with my interview today and I didn't miss anything? These are questions that are key questions that you need to ask. Not what are your benefits? Not what are the hours that I'm going to be working? Not what does vacation look like? You can ask, what is your favorite part about working here? What is the favorite thing about working at this organization? You can ask, I've asked this question, what is your leadership skills? What are your leadership skills like? What type of leader are you? Because I don't work well with a micromanager, and I said that on an interview. So what are your leadership skills like? Because you want to know, are you the type of person that you need to be micromanaged? You need somebody on you all the time to tell you what to do. You need to know, because if that leader is not like that, then it's not going to be a good fit for you. So those are really good questions to ask. After you're finished with your interview, again, like I said, you can wrap it up by asking them if there's anything else they want to learn from you, if there's anything else that you can answer for them while they have your undivided attention. You want to thank them for taking the time and allowing you to interview for the position. Again, you can ask when, does the timeline look like, so that you can be prepared, and what will that next communication look like? Will it be a phone call? Are they going to send you an email, so that you're prepared with what to look for in their communication with you for the next steps? Now, I highly recommend this. There's two schools of thought with this, but again, this is an old school thought, and you want to stand out amongst the rest of the people, right? So again, in today's world, everybody's technology savvy, right? And they think, well, I've had people say, I thanked them in the interview. I don't need to send a thank you letter. You do need to send a thank you. You need to thank the people for allowing you to interview for this position, because understand that you made it through thousands of applications. You've made it through the phone call, and now you are in their presence for a panel interview. You have come through the pipeline, and that is not an easy task. And they chose you. They chose you. Maybe the bot chose you initially, but they chose you. They chose you out of the bunch of people. They now have chosen you for the phone interview, and now they've chosen to speak to you in person with a panel interview. Okay? So you want to respect that journey, and you want to send them an email, and you want to thank them for their time. You want to highlight something that you learned in the interview. Okay? Thank you for your time for interviewing me today. I'm excited about the position, and I was especially excited to learn about ABC. I didn't know that was an opportunity here, blah, blah, blah. Whatever you want to say, a nugget that you learned during that interview, you want to let them know. I would say you could send one email to all of the people and, acknowledge them, speak to them as a group, but state, maybe one person on the group gave you a nugget. It doesn't matter. You just want to state the nugget because everybody heard it, right? You want to state the nugget that resonated with you, and you want to share that you are excited for the next level of the interview process, right? You want to send that email. Sometimes you might not get direct email contact, so you would just reach out to the recruiter that contacted you in the beginning, and you want to send the email to the recruiter, and you want to ask the recruiter to forward that email to the interview panel on your behalf. I really encourage you to do this, because, again, you will stand out by doing this. Most people today do not do this. They don't do it. This, again, shows your interest in the position, your respect for their time, and your respect for the journey thus far. Then when you go to the next round, could be another round, which would be, again, probably the most senior person in this area of an organization. If you were brought in at that level, that is pretty much the final level of the interview, which is more of to see if you're a fit for the team. So they know the different personalities of the team. You may be given a test, and that could have happened in the beginning. I doubt it will happen at the end at this point for this type of interview that I'm explaining. But this final interview with a very senior person is really to see that senior person wants to know if you're a good fit for the group that he or she leads, right? So they want to see if you're a good fit for the organization, if your personality, your mindset, all of that. So it's pretty much you're vetted at this point. You really don't have to sell your skill sets at this point, because the panel has chosen you to go to the final round. The final round typically is the senior person who then has to decide which of these people will be the best person to fit the group here, the dynamics of the group. And at that point, really, there's nothing else you can do except be yourself. Really just be yourself, because that's what they're looking for. Yourself, not your interview self, but your true self is going to be the person who shows up every day. That person's going to show up every day, and the senior leader needs to see the person that's going to show up every day. So if you're funny, if you're serious and you have a little quirky side to you, and it might just naturally come out. I'm not saying to play up any way that you are, but when you meet this person, it's really just you're meeting them. You thank them for their time. If you have any additional questions that you didn't ask in the interview, you could ask this person. I meant to ask this. I learned about this about your company. Could you tell me a little bit more about it? Again, you don't want to talk about benefits at this point. You don't want to talk about time off. You don't want to talk about anything like that. You just want to talk about again, the position, the networking within the position, what the position looks like, how long that person has been there. Maybe you would have asked that person what they like best about the position. You could ask that person their vision for the team and what their leadership skills are like, because now they're senior leaders, right? So they see the whole thing. Like, what is your vision for this area and for the people that underneath you and their growth journey, their career paths, etc. So this is a person that you could ask those questions to that person at this point. And again, when you leave this interview, you want to send that email and thank that person for taking, because now you're a senior leader person who doesn't have a whole lot of time in their day to speak to you, and they're taking the time to speak to you. So you want to make sure that you thank them and that you feel that you're a right fit too, because you want to make sure that, could you work for this person? Is this the culture that you want to be part of? So that way, when you leave, if I'm offered this job, I really want to work there. You don't want to take a job. People do it. I'm just going to take this job because it's more money. I'm just going to take this job because it's a job. You really, are doing a disservice to yourself and that organization if that is your mindset. You always want to think about accepting a position because it is part of your journey in your career path and whatever that is that you want to learn. So say this is a left turn of your career, right? And you're going down another path that normally isn't your path, right? So you're going down this path because you want to be in this position, because you want to learn this new skill set, and you have the criteria. Clearly you had enough criteria and experience to get you to this senior level, right? But you want to know that, okay, this is for me to learn because my big picture dream is to do this position, and it encompasses all these different layers for me to have all that knowledge to get to that next level, right? So just do yourself a service by accepting positions that you're going to learn from and that they will benefit you in the future in some capacity. And all jobs do, whether you like it or not, whether they're the most horrible jobs or not, you're always going to learn something, right? You're either going to learn a skill set where really, I have to tell you, I have had some really horrible bosses in my life, horrible bosses. And those bosses I thank to this day because they've made me a great boss. I learned so much from them that if I ever became a boss, I would never do the things that these people did. And it had to do with really just self-awareness, personal development, understanding each person is different, really treating people with respect, hiring the right people for the job, understanding their whys for the position, and giving people grace, understanding that, they need full training in the position, depending on what position you're hiring for. But you really do dedicate the time to train them fully, and then you let them go when they're ready and that they're well equipped to succeed. But I think a really good boss is a boss who really, their aspiration is for the people on their team to grow away and off out of their team. Really, that's what I do. I'm really good at grooming my team to just leave my team, right? If that's their desire, I'm going to help them go. And, you want to give them the skill set, the confidence, and the opportunities, And for me, I've had really terrible bosses. And so I wasn't given opportunities. And I think if I have like a one-on-one with someone on my team, and they have, they want to lead something, I will get a project for them and I will let them lead it. And I will put them in a situation where, they've agreed upon it. In the beginning, they wanted to lead something. So we put a project together, we get a meeting together, we invite people to the group, and then I let that person lead. Now I'm there in the shadows, as is the rest of the team, to catch them if they miss something, but I give them the spotlight. And the more spotlights that you can give them, the more confidence they gain, and then the more they're able to do better, grow, and then move on with their career. So those are the tips that I have for you, so that you stand out among the rest when you're out there for applying for a position. Don't always go for the money, because if you do what you love, the money's going to come. The money's going to come. It's really about, what do you want to learn? What environment do you want to be in? What organization do you want to work with that aligns with your beliefs? Really, that's what you want to do. And then, you learn from people. Like I said, there's all kinds of people in the workplace. And, I said they were in your kindergarten class. They were in elementary school, and they grow up to be adults too. And so you just have to learn people skills. You have to learn what's important and what's not important, what to let go. There's a lot of growth that happens in a workplace. And, some people, you have to give them grace, because, you don't know what's going on in their lives. I've been in situations in my life where I was going through some really, really bad times. I mean, really bad times, unthinkable, hard times. And I had a job. And I had to go into work and be professional when I had all of this stress on my heart and in my life. And I had to do a job. And it was really, really hard to stay focused on work and be positive when your life was falling apart at home. And you couldn't really share that with people, because, people will judge you, right? They'll judge you. And maybe you're just in such a bad place, you really don't want to talk about it. You don't really want to tell these people that you work with about your home life business, So I've been that person, and I give people grace, because I've been that person. I never ask anybody for anything. People tend to tell me, their stories or whatever. But, I don't pry. I'm there to support and help people be the best version of themselves. I not only have this podcast and live this in my life, but I am that type of boss lady. I do respect everybody that I work with. I treat them very professionally, and I am there to support them. And if they confide in me, I am the vault. I do not disclose anything, and I don't judge anyone for anything. And I feel like sometimes people just need a safe place and a safe person to say something to. And, I don't mind being that person at times, because, you need it. Like I just shared, I never had that person to do it. I had to hold it all in myself. And so I understand that life is not perfect for everyone, but I do know that everything, is just a short period of time, and it just comes and goes, and you have to ride those tough waves out. So again, I just share that I hope these tips helped you today. I hope that you, really land a wonderful job. If this podcast helped you today, please comment, please share it. It's free, and it's what I do, and it works. I tell you, I have helped many people get positions with these tips, and I hope they work for you. I know that they will. Just be prepared, do your homework, apply for the right jobs, speak to the right skill set of the job, the qualifications, speak to your own skill sets, be truthful, be yourself, and go and shine. Let this inspire you today.